today we're talking about 360 video storytelling, selling travel and places with immersive content. And you're really going to see some great examples today. I'm sure most of you have seen a few examples just walking around the show. Everyone's getting into it now. But here you're going to hear about the strategy, how to do it right, how to really get the wins in this area. So first of all, I'm Nick Hall. I'm the founder of the Digital Tourism Think Tank. And we work with the whole tourism industry to promote leadership in innovation, in digital, and we basically help people through that process. Today, I have a fantastic panel discussing this topic. So first of all, on my left, your right, we have Martin Steger from Caliber. Caliber is a content company. He's going to talk about it himself, I'm sure, better than me. They do great work in content. They're all about content. And I think in this day and age where content has clearly come into its own, it's probably the best kind of company you can work with and get to know over the coming year. So definitely connect with Martin after this session. And Ali from Google. Oh, what did I do? Ali from Google is an inspiration to me because he's really passionate about everything digital, but in particular this topic. We had some really good conversations before today. I don't think I need to introduce Google to you guys, but if you don't know much about Google, just try Googling it, and you will find everything. So, ATM 2016 is the hashtag. Do tweet along. Here we go. Take a picture in case you forget it. ATM 2016. Excellent. And we do like to hear your tweets. And I have a social media team in the UK. They're not awake yet, but they will respond once they wake up. So, I'm going to start off by showing you a video, also to wake you guys up. Is everyone okay? We all good? Yeah? Okay. Because I know these sessions in this room can be a bit dull, so we're trying to liven it up. I'm going to start off by showing you a video of our content campus. This is an event we did in the Faroe Islands, where we sent tourism marketeers out to go and actually discover what it means to get immersive with content. And what we're going to discuss really today is also the need to get much, much more familiar with the process of content creation. So have a look at this. Hopefully you guys will be inspired. Just so you know, everybody in the video is a marketeer. They're not by profession a content creator. So this also gives you some thinking behind it.
So we hack out of a city, we do strange things, we experiment, we involve our citizens also in that whole process.
We wanted to inspire them with secrets in every region. So we're still talking about secrets, but we have a new character to tell the secrets.
What I would like us to do is that all destinations from now on start considering ourselves as distributed media companies.
But what's more important is not to look at the channel, but actually look at what interests are driving content engagement. So there we go. There's just a little bit of an idea about where things are moving. Content is absolutely, well, the word I heard there was content is queen. Content is beautiful, and content is what's going to sell your destinations, your hotels, your airline experiences. And what better to get started by handing over to Martin to actually decipher some of the misconceptions about 360-degree content and immersive content and 4D virtual reality. So over to you. Would you like
Is this one working? Yeah.
There we go.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Nick. How are you guys doing? Good? Good? Excited about virtual reality? 360-degree videos? Okay. So as Nick already said, today we want to decipher virtual reality because when it comes to virtual reality, people have a different understanding, and the understanding of virtual reality varies quite a lot. So today I want to showcase what we think virtual reality is and how it fits in the broader picture of immersive content and content in general. The agenda for my presentation is rather simple and short. First, an introduction to virtual reality. Then we are talking a little bit about virtual tours, because in the end, in virtual tours, you also have some kind of 360-degree videos. Then as a third one, you have 360-degree videos, and in the end, the conclusion. How did it all start out with virtual reality? I guess virtual reality was some way invented in the early 19th century when we are talking about the stereoscope. The stereoscope is basically a device that lets you have two pictures from a slightly different angle. When you look at it, you have like an immersive experience. And this was in the 1860s. So quite early on, you already had like somewhat of an immersive experience. Then obviously it moved on and became like a really nice buzzword over the last couple of centuries. The term virtual reality was coined in 1987, and from then onwards, the progression started to get more into virtual reality, the virtual reality we know of today. In the early 1990s and the early 2000s, most people understood virtual reality as something that was being hosted in gaming, especially when you think about the Virtual Boy from Nintendo. And more it became like a thing for the masses, a thing for the general audience, which is why, for example, the Time magazine coined 2016 the year of virtual reality. And interestingly enough, on my way here today, I passed by Sheikh Road, and we saw a huge billboard that was promoting virtual reality. In this case, Samsung was promoting its VR gear. And in 2016, we arrived in a year where virtual reality is for everyone. That is for you as brands, as travel brands, but also for the user itself. Moving on, what is virtual reality? As I said before, virtual reality is something that is not clearly defined, unfortunately, and many people around the world have different kinds of opinion what virtual reality really is. Virtual reality is nothing like in a 2D sense. So you're not watching a video, for example, that has a 2D experience for you, and you're being forced or dictated a certain perspective in a video or in an environment. The VR is now giving you the chance to choose your own perspective within this vantage point. So within VR, you have the chance to look around, to experience what is on my left, what is on my right, what is below me, what is above me. So basically, virtual reality is giving you the chance to have a free look around your own environment. And this is being done by taking over the sense of sight of the user, of the audience. And I will tell you a little bit about it later, how actually you can do it and how you can use it for your own advantage, and also why you as a brand have to use virtual reality, and in particular 360-degree videos. What do you need to have virtual reality? So when we talk about virtual reality and immersive content, we always have to distinguish between virtual reality that is fully immersive and virtual reality that is not fully immersive. Not fully immersive virtual reality is, for example, you have it on your phone, you have it on your desktop, you have it on your tablet, on any device basically that has a screen, you can have virtual reality. If you have it like this, you can look around, but most likely you have to drag your mouse, for example, or you move your tablet or your phone and use the sensors within the phone to actually move around. But if you want to have the full immersive experience, then you can get like VR goggles. We have here Ali from Google. Google is very well known to produce the Google Cardboard, which is like a $10 Google or VR goggles that is helping you to achieve this fully immersive experience. In the end, there are many ways of getting this virtual and immersive experience, and devices range from $10 up to $1,600, which would be the Oculus Rift. For the Oculus Rift, you pay around $600 plus additional hardware to get the Oculus Rift running for another $1,000. So in the end, please remember, there is fully immersive where you have goggles. So basically, you only are immersed in this and there is no more surroundings. And on the other hand, you have the not fully immersive experience where you just look on the screen on your phone, for example. Moving on to virtual tours, because virtual tours is some part of virtual reality. Virtual tours use pictures. These can be still pictures, or they're using 360-degree videos. How it works is, I will tell you guys a little bit later, but basically it's about stitching pictures together and creating a new environment, and an environment the user can go through. So virtual tours allow the user to walk through, for example, a certain area, may it be a hotel, a restaurant, a destination, or an attraction. So it's more a simulation of an existing environment, but it lets the consumer and the audience be transported into this environment and explore this environment. Where can you use it? I already touched on this a little. You can use it in restaurants, you can use it in hotels, for example. Emirates did it with the A380, where they said, okay, we want to showcase how our A380 looks like. And people were quite amazed by it. Okay, this is how the A380 looks like, and this is how Emirates decided to customize the A380 when they put in their bar, their relaxing room and stuff. And obviously, as we are in Dubai, Dubai 360 is the prime example of how virtual reality and in particular virtual tours are being used. Dubai 360, who of you guys know Dubai 360? Okay, so a couple of people. For the people that don't know it, Dubai 360 is a project that Dubai Tourism tried to promote Dubai with in a way that they said, okay, we want to showcase everything that is good about Dubai. We want to have, for example, a virtual tour of downtown where you have the beautiful fountain, and you have a video where you can actually explore how the fountain would look like when you are there, with the music, with the fountain going off. And this is for many places around and in Dubai. Let it be the Dubai Marina, let it be the City Walk, Box Park. So there are many places that you can explore in Dubai from the comfort of your home. So you don't have to be necessarily in Dubai anymore. You can be in the US, in Europe, somewhere around the world, and you can still experience Dubai. When it comes to virtual tours, obviously we want to give you some hard facts and numbers, because this is what marketing and digital marketing comes down to in the end, that you have hard facts where you can say, okay, this project has this ROI for me. One of our clients is Destinology. It's an online travel agency for luxury travels, and they were among the first to really embrace virtual tours. And what they found out is that with the virtual tours, they were able to increase the page views of the people checking out their website. So if you have a virtual tour, then 96% of the people were more likely to experience more pages, while the bounce rate dropped quite significantly of 57%. And in the end, the biggest advantage that they saw is that people tend to stay longer on your website. And as we all know, the longer people are on your website, the more likely it is they convert in the end. And for us, it's all about conversions, because conversion means money and conversion means sales in the end. Another example is the New York company. The New York City company is the tourism board, so to say, of New York City. So what they did is they went around New York City and they offered to restaurants, okay, you can get a virtual tour or you don't. And then in the end, they asked people, okay, how did you react when you saw this virtual tour? And how did it affect the booking of this restaurant? And 84% of the people said, okay, I saw this restaurant, and this restaurant had a virtual tour, and this virtual tour, this immersive content, helped me in deciding, is this the right restaurant for me or is it not? So in the end, you have to think about it. The more information you give out to people, the more likely it is that they will convert, because in the end, we are all people and we hate uncertainty. And in order to overcome this uncertainty, you have to give out as much information as possible. And I guess the number itself, 84% said that immersive content was a deciding factor for them. To choose one restaurant over another is quite important to see. Then the next thing would be 360-degree videos. 360-degree videos, on the one hand, can be produced from still images, but can also be produced from a video camera that is shooting 360 videos. So what in the end, what is 360-degree videos? 360-degree videos is videos that allow you to be in a scene and to experience the scene how it unfolds. At the moment, when you have the fully immersive experience, when you wear your goggles, you have a fully 360 experience, because in the end, you have a video and you can move around your head, or your phone in this case, and you experience how the whole story evolves while you are part of the story. If you look left, something else will happen. If you look than when you look to the right in this case. 360 videos at this stage are hosted on Google and are hosted on Facebook, whereas Google was the first last year in March to introduce 360-degree videos. Facebook came in September last year, and these are the two main platforms where you can find 360-degree videos. How do 360-degree videos work in the end? I guess this is the most interesting thing about 360-degree videos. In the end, it's multiple cameras that are being stitched together. So the pictures of these multiple cameras that are facing in different directions are being stitched together, and then you get like this immersive experience. So in the end, you need a camera rig where you have pictures of the whole 360-degree view around you. And once you stitch those pictures together, you get like this immersive experience that you can use. And then I guess you already know why this is now changing the game quite a lot. Because in the end, traditional videos or traditional content was you're being somewhat in a passive position where you can, for example, experience the beach in Dubai. You can sit there and you can relax and you can have a video about it, but you would never feel really part of it because in the end it's just 2D. But now with immersive 360-degree videos, you are part of it because in the end you are the one that is sitting at the beach. You can look around and you might see a camel and you might see the beach and you might see Dubai Marina and Media City. So being there is changing the game completely because in the end you have more emotions, you have more experience, you get a better feel for the location. You get a better feel for the experience, how it is to be on the beach in Dubai and how it is to relax on the beach. It's not just, okay, you see it from an outside perspective, okay, that's the beach and somebody's sitting there. No, you are the one that is sitting on the beach, the one that is relaxing in that case. As I mentioned already, 360-degree videos can be produced by using still images, for example, still images that you would get from a virtual tour, or you use a 360-degree video camera. The only difference is if you use a 360 video camera, obviously you can have moving objects, which is quite an important part, so you have a real video. Whereas when you use the pictures, still pictures, you still have a video in the end because you're stitching the different kinds of phanospheres together, but you don't have moving parts within the video. So for example, you cannot have the water moving in this case, for example, on the left. While on the right-hand side, you can actually skydive Dubai in this case. When it comes to 360-degree videos, I think it's very important to see, okay, what are the success factors for 360-degree videos? What makes a 360-degree video a very successful one that is being recognized around the world? And here's a very short checklist for you guys to make sure if you follow this checklist, most likely you will have a great video, or at least not a video that is hurting your brand. So first of all, we are here about storytelling, and storytelling is an important part. And in the past, it used to be, okay, you have a 360-degree video, and the novelty factor made it cool and wow. So everybody was like, okay, this is a really cool thing. No real story was involved or was needed. Now we are at a stage where a real story is needed, and this should be the very core principle of your 360-degree video, that you have a compelling story. Then what you have to keep in mind is keep the content slow. As 360-degree videos, the people that experience it, they can look anywhere in this 360-degree environment. So it might not be that the person is looking at the right thing that you want to showcase. So let the story unfold slowly and let the content unfold slowly so people have the chance to actually experience what you want to showcase. Then another one that is very important is induce interaction. So let the people know what they are, or where they should be looking at. So if you're flying, for example, over Manhattan, let the people know, okay, to your left-hand side, when you look down, there is the Empire State Building. To your right, you see the Statue of Liberty. So this is very important because as soon as the people feel like, okay, they're being interacted with, so they are being directed by the narrative, for example, then they feel even more immersed because they feel, okay, they're really part of the experience. And it's like sitting in a bus, for example, in New York City and driving through New York City. You also have a person telling you, okay, this is the Empire State Building on the left or on the right. So that way you get a really immersive experience. One very important factor is have a stable base. When it comes to 360-degree videos, having a stable base is quite important because if the camera is moving too fast or is moving up and down, for example, then people might get nauseous just because they are in this immersive experience, and every time the camera is not moving in a very fluid motion, people might get sick, and this is like the same as getting seasick in this case. One thing to remember is in 360-degree videos, you see everything. So there is no more behind the scenes where you can store all your stuff, or where you have all the camera team behind you and nobody's really taking care of this because the camera is only facing that direction. And no, for 360-degree video, everything is in the picture, and you can make this your biggest advantage, because in the end, you can make a video where you can say, okay, I want to showcase everything. I don't have anything to hide, and maybe I want to hide a little gimmick for the people that actually want to experience the video itself. So for example, there are some case studies out there that show that a 3-minute video is being watched up to 15 minutes because people want to see, okay, now I've experienced everything that is to my left, but I don't have experienced what is to my right. So people tend to watch videos over and over again to find out, okay, what has the right experience, or what has the perspective on the right to offer? What is there to see for me? What can I make use of? What haven't I seen yet? And I guess last but not least, which is also very important, ensure a high production value. Most videos are being shot in 30 frames per second, which is enough if you're looking at a screen from far away. However, since virtual reality, and especially the fully immersive view, it's like right in front of your eyes, you should have at least 90 frames per second. 90 frames per second will allow you to have a fluid motion of the picture. And one thing that we will discuss later in the panel, and I know Ali, since we talked a little about it already, he has quite a strong opinion about it. Make sure that the quality of the content and the quality of the picture is quite high, because in the end, your brand will be in front of the people, really close to their eyes, so you want to make sure that the quality of the picture is very crisp and is very high quality, because that is in the end what people associate your brand with. An example of that we think where all the best practices have been fully incorporated is the Visit Hamilton Island in 360 video. We will showcase this video in a little bit after the panel or in between the panel. We brought a couple of Google Cardboards so you can all experience it when you come to the stage. So what they did is, Visit Hamilton Island in 360 was a cooperation between Samsung, Qantas, and Hamilton Island Tourism Board. So what they did is they created a video that is showing the whole experience when you go to Hamilton Island. So the video starts off, you're sitting in the cockpit with the pilots, you're touching down on Hamilton Island. Then the next picture is where you are being greeted in your hotel. You go to your room, you see this amazing view of the bay in front of you, you're being served a welcome drink. And then this is all happening in the morning. While in the afternoon, you're being flown by a helicopter, in that case, to the Great Barrier Reef to go diving there. And on your way to the Great Barrier Reef, the pilot is pointing out different sites. So for example, the pilot is saying, okay, look down to your left, you see the beautiful heart reef. So that way you get like the real interaction. And then while you are going to the Great Barrier Reef, you see a couple of inlets and stuff, and the pilot is explaining quite nicely what the Great Barrier Reef is all about. And then you touch down, you go diving in the Great Barrier Reef, you see turtles, you see fishes, and in the end, the day ends with people having a romantic dinner at sunset and then having a couple of drinks at the port. So the whole video is giving you the experience that you would have if you go to Hamilton Island. It starts off, as I said, with the transportation, then with accommodation, and then what you can do as excitement or for relaxation or to have a romantic dinner. So there is many, many things that you can experience at Hamilton Island, and we think that this video is making great use of this. A couple of case studies, obviously, for the 360-degree videos. One of them was done by Thomas Cook. So what Thomas Cook did is, in their stores around Europe, they had virtual reality experiences for their audience. So what they offered is, okay, you get the fully immersive experience at their store, and we would show you 360-degree videos, for example, of New York City or of Egypt and the pyramids. And what they have experienced is, especially the New York City tours were among the most popular ones. And in the end, they were able to see 40% return on investment on their 360-degree videos, plus 180% increase in New York City bookings. So their bookings went through the roof just by showcasing how it would feel like you're sitting in a helicopter and going through New York City. The next one, and this is probably one that showcases how important and how powerful the 360 videos are is South Africa, they wanted to showcase, okay, what is South Africa all about? And in the end, they produced 5 little videos about, for example, paragliding or kite surfing or swimming with a shark. And in the end, those 5 videos accounted to 5 million views on their Facebook page. Other videos that had exactly the same content, but they were not 360 degree videos, they had like 10,000 to 40,000 views, so quite massively more. And to bring it to a conclusion, keep calm and embrace virtual reality. Why you should embrace virtual reality and 360 degree videos is quite easy and interesting. Be ahead of the curve. There are not that many brands that are using virtual reality and 360 degree videos at this stage. It's a new way of interaction with your clients, with your audience, giving them a new way of approaching them, because in the end people are somewhat upset or they're bored by the usual and regular pitches that they are being encountered with. So this is a new and cool way of using it, and it's a superior experience. When you think about it, you have a 360 degree video where you can actually move around and you can actually see what's happening in this environment, whereas, for example, in a brochure you only have a picture that is dictated on you. And last but not least is the undivided attention. If the person is fully immersed, then the person is only seeing what you have in this video. So there's no more second screen. So people might watch TV and they have a second screen, but with virtual reality and a fully immersive content, you can have the undivided attention of your audience. And I guess the undivided attention of the audience is the most important factor. And yeah, to sum it up, immersive content is king. I know Bill Gates said it 1994 that content is king, but on this stage today I want to say immersive content is king just because of the bullet points I have here. And then I guess that's about it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I think that was definitely worthy of a round of applause. And that is pretty much your full education on everything you need to know about 360. So thanks for doing such a great job there. Right, so I'm not going to lose any more time. Straight over to Ali, who's now going to get us really excited about the content and actually what you can do here. So over to you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much. Can everyone hear me? I think everyone can hear me in the back. Thanks so much for starting us off. Look, I think I have about 10 minutes. I had 15. I'm going to squeeze it down to 10 to try to keep this super effective. I want to talk about 2 things today. One, how do you as brands benefit from this technology, right? And then the second part of it is the role that Google is playing in this ecosystem, because it is a very distinct role compared to some of the other players out there. And it all starts... I'm okay to walk around. Will this work? You guys can hear me? Yeah. This is just a couple of statistics to show how much time users, travelers, all the people that you all are trying to reach out to spend on their travel research, right? So this is on the UAE. It's about 2 hours over a month. People are visiting 10 desktop sites 3 times, etc. The point to take away, other than the statistics, is that the traveler's road to decision is very long. Okay, it's painful. And when brands, we ask ourselves a lot, why is this? Why do brands take this much time? Why do users take this much time to actually make travel decisions? Part of it is that brands don't make it easy to distinguish, right? They don't make it easy. Think about the last time you went to a hotel website. Can you tell the difference? This is just a couple of snapshots that was taken a month ago. Even the color schemes, and this is not to knock on any one of these brands, but the point is they're very similar. Even the colors are sometimes very, very similar. So what happens in this world, right? Typically, as a user, if you are not going to tell me your story in the most compelling way possible, in a way that I can understand all of the investment that you make into your properties to make them stand out, what am I going to do? I'm going to go into the cold but very, very efficient arms of OTAs. And hotel industry tends to struggle with this quite a bit. OTAs tend to win this particular battle. And a lot of the work that we're trying to do is trying to say, well, for hotels that are trying to make that direct connection with their consumers, what can they be doing? And we think that there's an answer, even though it's a very focused answer, but there is an answer in giving people a chance to truly experience what makes you as a property different. How do we fit into this as Google? right? So our mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and usable, right? For the better part of the last decade, we've been using technology to transform travel. It started with this, right? When you want to search for luxury travel, when you want to search in a particular city about anything, you can ask Google the question, and we served you in the beginning a few blue links to answer that. We take it for granted now. It's uncluttered, it's clean, it's very, very, very quick, right? But this is how it started. And then after that, we said, fine, let's add on one layer on top of that, which is allowing you to not just compare, because once we sent off people to the websites, we found that their experiences there weren't consistent. So we brought that out onto the console. Now you can actually, as users, compare, look at, based on your availability, your preferences, how and what you want to travel to. Then came Maps. How many people know when Maps was launched here? Just to throw out a number. Yeah, that's pretty close, 2005. How many people use Maps on a monthly basis here? It's almost hard to imagine that there was a world pre-Google Maps. We also know from studies that 70% of travelers will actually check a destination out before they travel there, right? But the point was, let's give users the ability to get away from maps and to actually be able to search and experience the place. But without images, right, which is what we introduced into Maps in 2007, Maps was not super transformative, right? It was very, very useful, but it didn't put you in the moment there. So when we launched Street View in 2007, this is kind of giving you the Google journey to transformation, right? So to how we are where we are today, and it's very useful to understand. And then after that, YouTube, somewhere in between, goes from a place where you are using it to upload your cat videos to the #1 video destination in the world. But if it was just that, we wouldn't be where we are today, right? So 2 major announcements that we announced in the last year bring us to the moment that we're in today, right? One is YouTube's support of 360. We are in an experiential category. People love traveling, but people like to experience travel, and they like to try before they buy. That video that you just saw of just a flat image of moving around in a particular room is far better than a flat image, right? Most people would agree with that. Now, what we then did on top of that was we launched Google Cardboard a little over 2 years ago, which was our way of democratizing VR, right? It's a $20 device. The smartest part of Google Cardboard is your phone. You plug it in, and you can experience every single video that exists on YouTube in your own personal IMAX space. How many people here have tried Google Cardboard? A show of hands. Okay. Over 5 million have been shipped over the last year or so, and 25 million apps have been downloaded. And the whole objective of what Google is trying to do in this space is to give you and users 2 things. One, a very cheap and inexpensive but wickedly smart device to actually experience what virtual reality is and what it can mean for you. And then the second part of it is a content library. We don't want to tell you what content to consume. We want you to be able to view your own content in your own terms on your own time, which it's a side question, and maybe we'll leave it for questions later, is that virtual reality is like any other technology, and I've made this point on a couple of panels yesterday. We are literally in the brick phone equivalent. You remember those big brick phones that were around about 12 years ago, right? Literally, you had to carry them in a bag. We are in that moment in virtual reality right now. So it's very, very early days. I don't think anyone can say what the answer is and how this is going to actually be impacting travel, or for that matter, things such as healthcare or education, etc. But one thing's for sure is that if it is going to take off, and if it's going to benefit everyone as marketers in this room, people need to have a way to experience VR on their own terms, in their own time, to see if it is truly transformational. We believe it is, but we need them to experience it. A lot of times when brands think about a technology, and this is the part, the center part is where they get fixated. The latest technology. I want to bring out the latest flavor of the month. And so most people are struggling with, is this a strategic move into VR for us, or is this something that is just based on the fact that this is a new gimmick? And I think what I would encourage everyone in this room to do is to take a step back and start with the user. Ultimately, what is it that you are trying to do for the user? What need are you trying to solve? Then think about what is the technology, and obviously as a brand, think about how this fits into your plans. Is it just because someone else, some other marketing, some other brand has launched a hotel and launched a few 360-degree videos, so you feel the need to launch 360-degree videos? I'm not insulting anyone here, and I hope it doesn't come across that way, but the important point is to think about any foray into 360 and immersiveness as a combination of these three perspectives, right? And what I'm going to show you is one example that we launched in collaboration with Jumeirah that is called Jumeirah Inside. I would encourage you to experience this. Actually, there at the Jumeirah stall, you can actually go experience what we're talking about here. But Jumeirah came to us with a very specific problem, which was that they have this fantastic property, which is the Burj Al Arab. Very few people actually associated Jumeirah with Burj Al Arab, right? That was one thing. And then the second part was they had been on a journey with us where they had become the #1 hotel brand globally on YouTube. Think about that for a moment. 23 property hotel, #1 hotel brand on YouTube. They had invested significantly in content and on YouTube. So for them, they were in the search for what do we now do? What are the things? And it was taking these three perspectives that we developed a project with them. It's the first time that the project has actually put a Google name on a hotel project. I'm going to show you a quick 2-minute video, and then I'm going to, in the spirit of keeping this within 10 minutes, I'm going to hop off and leave some time for questions in the end. Okay? Does that work for everyone?
Burj Al Arab, the world's most luxurious hotel, home to discerning travellers from around the world. Its unmatched hospitality has set the standard for all Jumeirah hotels and resorts around the world. When two brands with innovation at their core come together, the results can only be truly unique. Jumeirah and Google proudly introduce Jumeirah Inside, the world's most immersive digital travel platform. Through this partnership, the doors to Burj Al Arab are open. The hotel comes to life with 360-degree experience, 3D sound, playful interactions, and exclusive hotspots that provide unprecedented insights into the luxury world of the icon of the world. Jumeirah Inside is not just a tour through a building, it's a journey through a brand as visitors are invited to explore Jumeirah's exclusive portfolio of hotels and resorts worldwide, from wherever they are. 3D photography teams travel around the world to capture Jumeirah's 21 hotels and resorts in over 270 360-degree photo and video streams, featuring over 600 unique hotspots and interactions waiting to be discovered. At Jumeirah, we believe in creating personalized experiences. Jumeirah Inside is known for offering visitors a selection of 5 different languages and experiences optimized for desktop, mobile, and Jumeirah Inside is a truly immersive journey that allows visitors to book stays instantly or share experiences with friends and family over their social network of choice. The luxurious Burj Al Arab as the proud centerpiece of what is the Jumeirah Inside experience.
Just a quick postscript on this. For most of you who are looking at this for the first time, a question might be, well, I've seen 360-degree video before. And I think I invite you to actually experience the platform because this is about storytelling. This session is about storytelling. 360-degree video on its own cannot tell a story. It needs to be weaved in with other things. It needs to be weaved in with music. It needs to be weaved in with a journey. You need to curate the journey. So in this particular case, you can actually go to the Burj Al Arab from the car that picks you up, right, the Rolls Royce, and you can actually go through a combination of video and then interaction. So for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to step inside to the Royal Suite, I know I hadn't, you can actually start playing with things like revolving the hotel bed. You get information about the property that you would have known. Most people think about Burj Al Arab as this uber luxurious property that was built because we had the money to build it. They don't know about the attention to detail that was given, that the marble that in the staircase of the royal suite was actually from the same quarry that Michelangelo used for his statues. The attention of detail, these small details that for luxury brands mean everything, on which they spend millions of dollars, does not come to life through a standard website. So 360 gives you that opportunity to do it, but it's not just for a luxury brand. It can be for other different brands themselves, but it is important to remember who your users are, think about the technology, think about who you are, and come up with a execution that makes sense. This project, last statistic, other than the awards that it has won in the 3 months that it has been launched, actually increased conversion rates for Jumeirah once they got them onto this website by 50%. Think about that for a second, 50%. And the big innovation here isn't the flashy videos. The big innovation is that we feel that we have provided an answer to how do you collapse the process of discovering travel to the process of booking for travel. Because discovery happens off-site, or if you go to a website, you see the website, it doesn't really often differentiate it. So what do? You go to different places. You go to TripAdvisor, you go to YouTube, etc. What we have done is through this platform, if you like what you see, you can deep link and buy from anywhere within the experience. So not only is this something that makes a lot of sense and has won awards and has gotten global attention, but it's something that actually makes business sense. And I think that's the opportunity for 360 if done right. Okay? Thank you very much. I'll be around for questions afterwards.
Great. Thank you very much. Excellent. So we've seen two really great presentations there. Now I have lots of my own questions. I'm going to start with a question, but then I'm going to open it up to the floor. So my question for you guys is, what does this tell us about a general move towards much more immersive experiences in travel in general, and in particular the role of that? How do you see this space evolving? Are we at the beginning, or is there a lot more to come in the future? Perhaps you can answer that first, Martin.
So, in my opinion, we are at the very, very early stage when it comes to immersive experience, because in the end, as you all know, traveling is or vacation time is the time where people want to relax, where people are willing to spend a lot of money, and in the end, they want to have the best experience possible. With immersive content, you are able to be at home to research what you want to go, where you want to go, when you want to go, and how this experience would look like. And with immersive content, you are giving your audience the possibility to try before you buy, which is quite important, and to give them the experience before they actually go. And that way, you make sure that you drop this uncertainty that some people have and some people don't like. And as soon as you're getting rid of this uncertainty, people tend to book more with you. And so I think we are at the very early stage of
Okay,
this.
what's your thoughts on that, Ali?
I'd echo what has been said. It is very, very early stages, but I think it's not so early that everyone in this room should not at least give this a shot. And I don't mean in the form of an execution of the likes of Jumeirah inside, but I mean it costs $250 for you to buy a Ricoh device that can actually shoot video. Now, it's not great. That quality is not great. But to experience what it can mean for your brand, it costs $250 to do that. You have a $20 or $15 cardboard to actually experience it, and you have a platform where you can put it up where 1 billion people come every month. So for you to start at least testing and experiencing this, it's definitely worth your while. But what this means as an industry, whether it's for travel or whether it's for anything else, we're in the early stages because most people still think of this as a geek project. Most people do not want to pay $600, $1,000 to buy in. But if you reduce that point, which is what we at YouTube and Google believe, if you democratize this process, if you make it cheap for people to experience it on their own terms, in their own time, this is something that will grow very, very quickly. You cannot look at the last 2 years and say this is going to go like this. We're talking about potentially
rapid development. So get in now and I think take on some of the really good tips that you've both shown about telling the story, about getting the detail out there and using this for actually what it can actually do beyond sort of flat content. Great tips there. So do we have some questions from the audience? Yes, gentlemen over there at the back. Just introduce yourself as well, please.
Hello? Okay. My name is Leon. I'm from Shanghai Cloudwave. We are a Chinese-based VR content provider. Thank you guys for all the insights. That's very impressive to me, and thank you for all that. And my question is, we're talking about the 360-degree video storytelling. I think I have talked with Nick the other day for the shooting philosophy of VR, because as we have all the angles at our own hand, we can choose the angles we want to view certain things. But at the same time, it means the director or the storyteller is losing the control of, if in the past, in the movie, he or she can choose what can people watch, what they want to let people watch. But in this case, they simply lost the control. And as you indicate that you can use audios to guide people, but is there some other ways we can do to...
So you feel the user has lost control in this space?
Yeah, as a storyteller, I feel like people just don't follow my,
You might be proven wrong here. So interactivity, reactions?
I'd push back on that pretty strongly, because I think that just if it's a series of 360-degree videos in which someone is standing there and experiencing something where they're just clicking around, that's not tremendously useful. I think what we need to be able to do, and if you guys get the time again, do look at this as an example, because we gave a lot of deep thought as to the user experience of what it means to go through the property. So we curate part of that journey through video and through commentary, but then at some point it stops and it allows you to experience the hotspots that are interesting to users. They can skip them if they would like. But if anything, this actually gives you more control to determine what is it that you as a user want to watch, and if you don't like it, you just skip through it. But you have to not leave people to their own devices. A lot of executions that I see in this day and age are about, someone turns onto a video and then keep clipping. And after a while, the novelty of that kind of wears off. So if you are not guiding people through a journey, and if you're not thinking about the user experience, you will miss the opportunity of what this presents, which is giving people the channel. And it is digital, guys, right? So at the end of the day, that two-way conversation and engagement is the most critical part of what you can do with 360.
Great. And I think you might have some thoughts there on interactivity.
I agree here with Ali. And in the end, it's a very fine line that you have to have between, okay, you give the user the chance to explore a certain property or a certain destination. But as Ali said, on the other hand, you also need to have some guidance for the user, because in the end, you as a brand, you still want to have a message to be conveyed. And this message has to be conveyed, for example, by a narrator that is telling you, okay, this awesome property here is the Al Arab Hotel, for example, and you are being greeted by your own personal butler in this case. So there is a very important message that you can only bring if you have a narration in this case, or if you guide the user. But obviously the user is a free mind, so they want also to have some kind of freedom and to be able to explore the property. So in the end, it's a two-way street, as Ali said, between exploration and giving the user some kind of direction.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you for the question. It was a good question. So we've heard actually a lot of different ideas about 360. We've heard the rocketing up of how quickly this is going to take off, and this is not something which we expect to go away. We've also heard about the content and how you need to approach the content from getting that story. We've also heard that you can really get started very, very cheaply. These $250, there's a Ricoh camera we used at the content canvas. It is a bit crap, but it's a really good camera for proof of concept, and that's something that as a marketer you need to feel what you can do before you get somebody in to do it. But now let's talk about the technology for viewing 360 content, because for me, and wearing glasses, this is where I still see it as quite a barrier to being truly mainstream and getting that distribution on a large scale. Ali, do you have any thoughts on that?
Okay, it is two parts of the network, right? One part is you need to give people access to it. The technology is in its early stages, but just a week ago we announced something really interesting, which was spatial audio within Livestream 360. So if any one of you are Coachella fans out there, you'll be able to view a live concert in 360-degree video with the depth, intensity, and distance that you get by tilting your head in a particular direction and hearing a different sound. So the speed at which things are happening, the experience, I agree with you right now, is probably not there. But again, the question is, are you more likely to try that experience if your buy-in is 15, 20 bucks? Or are you more likely to buy into that if your buy-in is 600, 700 bucks or 1,000 bucks, etc.? So my view is that we're in the early stages, but even with a Google Cardboard now, you can actually get spatial audio, which is pretty insane if you if you think about it.
That is amazing. So really, some amazing.
So check it
things are
out
gonna
this
come.
weekend. It's going to be on YouTube, where you can actually experience this firsthand yourselves.
Spatial audio. Okay,
Yeah.
that's definitely one to check out. I think I can pretty much throw my new Bose headphones away. I have to buy one with a gyrometer next. So let's see what.
Don't throw them away just yet. Check it out first
Not
before
just
you
yet.
do it. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you very much, guys. You've been excellent. You've really shown us what the future of 360 content looks like. Martin, you're going to help some people who want to experience that, get it onto some Google Cardboards that you've got. So I would invite a volunteer to come and try that out. And then we're going to get a reaction from that volunteer. I think we can push over a little bit with time. And whilst you do that, I'm going to hand over to Stuart Smith from Sojourn. I have to say, Sojourn have been our partner now for a couple of years. And they've been an excellent partner. They really also understand the importance of then getting your material out and getting that reach. So before I hand over to Stuart, I'd just like to say thank you very much. Let's give these guys a round of applause. They have been a very good panel. And over to you, Stuart. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks for everyone for attending the session today. So my name is Stuart Smith, and I head up the MEA region operations for Sojourn. So my topic for the presentation today is, just briefly, is booking opportunities everywhere. So I'll talk through the topic a little bit, but also introduce Sojourn and how we're helping advertisers take advantage of these booking opportunities everywhere. Sorry, Nick, can I borrow the clicker? Okay, so for those of you who aren't aware of Sojourn, I just thought I'd give you a quick intro. We're travel's leading performance marketing engine. We use in-market traveler data, which we're getting from airlines, OTAs, meta-search, hotel partners, etc. And every month across our platform, we're seeing around 350 million traveler profiles. And what we're trying to do with advertisers is help them put heads on beds, travelers in seats, and tourists in towns. So this is just a snapshot of some of the travel advertisers we're working with. So as you can see, it's an exciting mix of some of the top global travel brands. So it's your hotel chains, it's airlines, it's destinations, and various attractions, etc. So back to the topic, booking opportunities everywhere. So we're all seeing a big shift in the way we're consuming, searching, and booking travel online. And I'm sure you're all seeing, as digital marketers, which I'm sure some of you are, a big shift in the way your marketing budgets are being spent. So moving away from some more traditional digital display advertising on desktop, which was quite popular as close as a couple of years ago, up until now, how you spending a lot more of the budget on mobile, it's video, it's social, and it's VR, as the guys were speaking about earlier, which is becoming really a popular topic too. And then moving on to say mobile, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with some of the brands up there, all really well-established online digital brands. And they're all changing rapidly into mobile companies. I mean, you look at Facebook, 80% of its revenue last year was from mobile. Google, a lot of the new initiatives are all mobile-based, and the same with all those other companies up there. Yeah, so with that, I mean, what we're doing and how you can actually do it with the digital data, which we're actually doing. So it's about how you can measure people across devices. So if you look at an average household, there might be 5 different connected devices, and how that provides you with an opportunity to actually connect with people across different devices. But I mean, what's the best way to do that? So if you're clever and you're collecting a lot of your online search behavior, you can quickly tailor a message which can be consistent across devices. And then if you use that data and combine it with the massive amounts of big data out there, you can really scale that message and run that message across multiple devices which is really effective and efficient. So this is just an example of how we're helping and influencing people and advertisers along the path to purchase. So you can see the first line is more of a traditional method where somebody would actually search for a hotel and then go on and book another hotel. So you didn't really have any data, you didn't know what people were doing along the journey. So now about what we're doing at Sojourn and working with all these airlines, OTAs, meta-search partners, hoteliers, etc., we've got multiple touch points on different users as they're going through the purchase journey. So by being able to do that, we can see if somebody's searching on an airline, we serve him an ad, he would then go search on a meta search engine, he might search on a competing hotel. And by having these different touch points, we can actually aid the conversion and the more likelihood that person will be able to book at your hotel rather than a competitor. So just giving you some top-line information around Sojourn. Every year we're seeing, last year we saw about 4.5 billion searches, bookings made across our platform with advertisers as well as data partners. Really are truly global now. Starting off from 2007, a little startup in Nebraska, Omaha, to now having presence worldwide. So this is just a quick example, just to visualize how the process actually works and how we're collecting this first-party data from our different partners, then how we're combining that possibly with different CRM and loyalty to better target users and to be able to drive that conversion, and how we're developing now cross-device strategies with things like mobile and using device IDs to be actually see if somebody's actually sitting at work, conducting a travel search, to when he would actually then go home, or he's on the train home, for example, and he's looking on his mobile device, and how we can actually see that's the same user. So below on the diagram, you're actually looking down, you can see the different types of travel data we're getting, but then, the magic formula is all the technology behind it. So how we're building traveler profiles, how we're bidding in real time on these particular users, how we're messaging, learning, optimizing, and then putting the message out across Facebook, on mobile devices, through video, through standard display media. So this is just to help visualize the kind of data we are getting. And this is a study we did last year for a major tourist attraction in the US. So it kind of just gives you an example of the kind of data we're collecting. So you've got your lead time, how far in advance people are searching, you've got how long they're looking to stay for. So lots of different dots and a few all over the show there. So if we overlay a little bit more data which we're collecting from Sojourn, it kind of helps you draw a story from all of this. So we can actually see, okay, where these people are searching from. And by doing that, you can either be able to develop a different marketing strategy where you might not have had that data on before. So you see people in the UK are searching further out and they're booking for longer, where people in the US, obviously shorter lead time and also shorter durations of stay. And you can kind of develop that global strategy to be able to run the most effective forms of marketing. And this is also just helps visualize how we're actually using data to actually drive marketing campaigns, but then also how we can actually share this data with our different data partners or with our different advertisers. So this is a snapshot of traveler behavior. We saw people coming into Dubai last year. So you can see the top origination markets, where people were coming from, top opportunity markets, so that's where people are searching for Dubai, but didn't book for whatever reason, so there may be an opportunity there to go out and advertise in those markets and to increase the perception of Dubai. You got search behavior, so you can work on things like seasonality and how you can target different markets and different types of the year, but then also your business and leisure. And then days between purchase and travel, so booking windows, as well as different night stays. So all that kind of really interesting information which we can share with our partners, but then also helps you build a story to actually run the advertising. So, lastly, just to finish off, we've all seen the travel purchase funnel or the travel life cycle. There's a lot of the guys have been alluding to. So it's all around the dream and discover, plan and compare, the booking and the sharing, as well as the traveling, and how you can influence people throughout that life cycle, whether it be through prospecting, whether it be through retargeting, etc., with the aim of building your awareness, so whether that be brand awareness or destination awareness, but then also finding new travelers and how you can influence them to visit your destination or to come and book at your hotel. And then also upselling products, so different ancillary things you can do after somebody's booked a flight, booked a hotel, or booked a car rental. So, I mean, just to finish off, I mean, on Sojin, I mean, we are Travel's, as I say, Travel's leading performance marketing engine, so all we do is travel, so we know how to make travel marketing campaigns work. It's all about the data technology, the team, and I mean, just some bottom line figures on how we drove bookings for advertisers, hotel room nights, travelers on seats, airline tickets, etc. So that's about it from me, short and sweet, but I'll be around if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you very much indeed, Stuart. Right, okay, now, the last question I have, and I know you guys both have to rush, is about 360. Ali, have you seen a major increase in demand from users? Because this is, I think, obviously something that's important for brands is, are we going to, is there the demand, or are we just pushing it too much?
Yeah, look, I think when we launched 360 channel on YouTube last year, we have easily over 1 million subscribers now, which is just an example of the type of content with like hundreds of millions of views. So ultimately, you're getting a lot of people who are consuming this. The number of headsets I'd noted, 5 million have been bought. 25 million apps have been downloaded. So people are not just using the app that is available on the Play Store. They're experimenting with different types of apps to see what it could mean for them. So I think all of this points to something that shows that there's demand. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot more that we can and will be doing in the coming months. It's early days. Those numbers are pretty meaningful, but I think we'll be seeing an uptick when people hear about these experiences, when you can experience a concert or your favorite musician playing live. Those types of things are what will get the part of you that is meant to be moved, and that does move with 360, which is, they call them empathy machines. Empathy machines move a part of you that's not just this part, it's this part. And I think the more people that experience it, the more people are going to be inspired by it.
That's a really great note to end on. So thank you both very much, and thank you, Stuart. I'm going to now invite you guys to meet with Martin, who's going to help anybody who wants to kind of experience that to immerse themselves. So thank you very much, and we are back in a couple of hours with the Snapchat generation. I'm having a stage-side chat with Danish Ferran from Zishe, and it's going to be extremely interesting. I think I also hear that it's very controversial here in the Middle East. So let's really get into that topic later on. Thank you very much for joining. Cheers.